All right, this tutorial is going to be all about Autocrat and getting that set up. So what Autocrat is, it's kind of a mail merge, so to speak. You can think of it that way. It works similar, but the idea is you've got users or yourself, you're going to fill in information in a form, and you want that to automatically create a document, maybe a PDF or maybe just an email, and store it in Drive or email it to the users. It's an auto response. So Autocrat is really just an auto response when someone submits a form. Uses for this, OTES evaluations, off-year evaluations, help desk tickets, registration for events. You'll see that a lot when you register for an event and you receive an email that says, hey, you registered for such and such event. Here it is. Here's your reminder. Here's your confirmation code, whatever. A lot of things, it's just an automated response. And so I'm going to, when I show this, I think I'm sharing my screen. Let me double check. Nope, I am not. So I'm sharing my screen now. I'm going to use an off-year evaluation. What we've done in the past at Patrick Henry is a Google script. And really it's limiting because if you don't know how to script, you're at the mercy of someone else. Whereas Autocrat's going to give you all the power to make changes or update or do what you need to do. So I'm going to take kind of an off-year evaluation template or an off-year evaluation form that we started developing. And I'm going to have to tweak this up a little bit, but for our principals at Patrick Henry, their form looks a lot like this right now. And then we'll go to change it from there. So to actually run Autocrat, you need three things. First, you need the form. What information are you recording, right? And with that, you will also get a sheet, right? Your response sheet. If you haven't seen this sheet before, I'm on the form again. If I go to responses and I click on the little sheets icon, that will open up, it'll create it and open up a Google Sheet for my responses. And that's where all of my responses will come in. So when someone fills out the form, it will show up their responses or their reply. Maybe it's you, so the evaluator in this case fills out the form. Everything shows up in here and the form is created. From this point, this is where we'll need the add-on Autocrat, which I already have it. So this Autocrat's a Google Sheets add-on. So it's specific to Google Sheets. If I go to add-ons, while I'm in a Google Sheet, I go to add-ons, get add-ons, search for Autocrat, and add it. There it is. I've already added it. So great. All right. So I have the add-on. It shows up in here in Autocrat. The next thing you'll need, you don't necessarily have to create this now, but it's your template. It's your document template that you want. You don't have to do this right now, but I recommend it. I think it helps the process, but you can create a document if you wanted to automatically generate a document. You can create a document beforehand. And that's what this is. So here's my template, my off-year evaluation update Autocrat template. And I've already made this. And you can see I've got special things in here called tags. And I'll talk about more about those in a second. So this is going to be the information that gets inputted directly from the sheet. And then I've got, just other sheet things. So the start time, this will show up in every sheet. So here's kind of the form aspect of it, the auto aspect of it. Notice I also put my signature in there. So there's a lot. You can make this multiple pages. You can do a lot with this. And this is the generic template that I'm going to start with and fill in information based off the tags. So here's what's important. I recommend you do this beforehand because it'll help when you're creating your form. What information do you want? How do you want to name that information? And important things like that. So the best way I can describe it, you can what's called mapping. So you can tell Autocrat teacher name, this tag teacher name in my template, I want that to point to the teacher name column. All right? I mean, that makes sense. Same with evaluator name. I've got that in there, evaluator name. Here's the key with Autocrat. If your tag matches exactly what's in your column header. So date, notice date and date match, although one's uppercase, and I think it still finds that. If they match, Autocrat will automatically find it. So it might benefit you to make sure these match. It depends on how many of them you have. It'll also benefit you not to use the same name, twice. If you do, it's going to be hard to determine which one. If I have two refinement areas, it's going to be hard to determine which one was refinement. Or two times. Like let's say instead of time evaluation ends and time evaluation begins, let's say I just called it time and time. Well, which one is time, right? And so notice I have this start and this end as a tag. When I run Autocrat, I'm going to have to tell Autocrat start is time evaluation begins and end is time evaluation ends. And that's all in Autocrat. We'll run that in the next tutorial and you'll see that. But I want you to understand how all these hooks work and what you're looking for and what you're trying to do. So when you set up your form, you might be able to set up your form better. And this is why I like having all three initially. It gives you a chance to pre-think what you want. What data do you want? What do you want to do with it? What do you want it to be called? And here's why this is important. Because in your sheet, your response sheet, notice these column headers match the titles of your questions. So I have teacher name, evaluator name, grade subjects taught, date. If I go to my sheet, teacher name, evaluator name, grade subjects taught, date. They are the exact questions. So your column headers are always your questions. Now I can go in here after I make the form and actually I could change this. I could change it to user date. And it'll stay that way until I update the form. So if I go back into my Google form and I change time evaluation begins, I just add a 1 there for it, right? I go back into my sheet, notice time evaluation begins 1 and it changed user date back to date. So every time you update this form, it goes back in and updates your sheet, column headers in your sheet. See there, it just updated. That also means the longer these are, so if I had an actual entire question here, let's say I put 50 words in here, all 50 words show up in the sheet. So it's just thinking through how you want your data. Knowing that can help, knowing that'll help you set it up, because everything in Autocrat has to eventually become a tag, and that's what you need. If you want a piece of information to auto fill in an email, in a document, whatever, then you need a tag. And thinking through what tags you want or what information you want to provide the end user is important. I think that's a beneficial process. So that concludes this tutorial. We will get into actually running Autocrat next tutorial, and actually, if your high school principals running this for the first time, or sorry, any principals at Patrick Henry running this for the first time, make sure you look at the tutorial on converting this. This teacher name field right here won't work in Autocrat. I'll explain that in the next tutorial, in a different tutorial, and get you to update your form. So that will have to be updated first, and I would recommend doing that one first before you get into actually running Autocrat. Okay. Hopefully this was helpful.